My name is Kate and welcome to this class for complete yoga beginners. If you've never done yoga before, this class is for you. If you have done yoga before, you can also take this class and maybe you'll learn a couple of tips and tricks that you hadn't heard before. So you can just start by taking a comfortable seat and just let your eyes close. Take a deep inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. And take another deep breath in and exhale everything out. Let your eyes open and just come out onto your hands and knees to start. Start with your wrists right underneath your shoulders and your knees right underneath your hips. And we're just going to move through what's called cat-cow. It's just a little back bending and rounding of your spine to help bring you into your body a little bit more. So on your inhale, you can lift your chest, drop your belly down, and kind of stick your butt up towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, press the floor away from you and round your spine. Inhale and lift your chest, drop your belly, lift your butt up towards the ceiling. Exhale, round your spine, drop your head. Let's do that 2 more times. Inhale, find your back bend, lift your chest, drop your stomach. As you exhale, round your spine. Inhale and lift your chest. Find that back bend, lift your tailbone towards the ceiling. And then as you exhale, find that rounding in your back. Good. Bring your knees to the edges of your mat. Bring your toes together to touch. Untuck your feet. So what that means is the tops of your feet are coming to the ground. Good. And we're just going to come into child's pose. So you're just going to bring your butt back towards your heels. And then this is kind of a challenging pose for some people. If you have tight hips, if your ankle mobility is a little bit tight, it can be challenging. So if you feel at all like you're kind of up in the air, that's okay. Your hips will open up. It'll get better. But so you'll just reach your butt back towards your heels as much as you can. Bring your head to the ground. If your head doesn't touch the ground, that's all right for today. Then just stretch your arms forwards. And child's pose is a resting pose for most yoga classes. If you're ever in a yoga class and you feel like you're tired and you just don't want to really do any of the other yoga poses right now, you can always take a child's pose and that teacher will understand that you're just needing a little bit of a break. From here, just lift yourself all the way back up onto your hands and knees. And we'll just come into downward facing dog. So downward facing dog is like taking an upside down V with your body. You'll tuck your toes under so that whoever, like an imaginary person behind you, could see the bottoms of your feet. From here, you're going to lift your hips up and back. In down dog, for beginners, it usually feels like you're in a plank pose. So if you feel like your shoulders are kind of moving over your wrists and you're more in a horizontal position than a V, then you can bend your knees and press your hands down and away from you so that your chest starts to move back towards your thighs. You want your arms and your hands to be in front of your shoulders. And the weight should feel a little bit more like it's in your legs. But again, down dog is not an easy position for most beginners. So if it feels really challenging at first, just know that that's totally normal. Either way, you can try playing with straightening your legs here. And anytime the down dog feels like you're just in it too long, we've been in it a really long time already, you can just bring your knees to the ground and that's totally fine. A lot of vinyasa classes, the poses all come from downward facing dog. And that's also why it's so challenging, is you're doing a lot of them. So just know that you can bring your knees down and come into the poses that way too. And I'll explain that a little bit more as we move through. So go ahead and come back into your down dog. Lift your right leg up towards the ceiling. Lift to the ball of your left foot. And then just step your foot between your hands. Now, if your foot landed somewhere halfway up your mat, you can just take your right hand to the back of your shin and press your foot forwards. If that's also challenging for you, bring your back knee to the ground and then press your shin forwards the same way. You just want that foot to be totally flat on the ground at the top of your mat. Good. So you're in a low lunge. That back knee is up. You're pressing through that back heel. Good. And then from here, just go ahead and lift your right arm up towards the ceiling so you're in a little bit of a twist. Perfect. And then touch your hands to the ground and come back into downward facing dog. Now, if down dog is hard for you, I'll show you on this next side how you can get into that low lunge from a little bit nicer of a position than down dog. So if you're in down dog, you can just lift your left leg up. If you're not, if you're feeling like down dog is a little challenging for today, you can bring your knees to the ground. Either way, if you're in down dog or if your knees are on the ground, you're just gonna step your left foot between your hands, right? So when your knees are on the ground, it's a little easier to come into these lunge positions. Again, if that foot landed halfway up your mat and your heel is up, you're just going to use your hand on the back of your leg to press your foot forwards. And then that back knee is up, press into your back heel. From here, lift your left arm up into that twist. And then touch your hands to the ground and step back into downward facing dog. From here, just come forwards into a plank pose. Bring your shoulders over your wrists, and then bring your knees to the ground. Try to engage through your stomach muscles a little bit. Bend your elbows and lower all the way to the ground. Good. Untuck your toes. Press the tops of your feet to the ground. So again, the bottoms of your feet are facing the ceiling. Your toes are untucked. And then you're going to move your shoulders away from your ears. Start to lift your chest and come into a cobra pose. So cobra pose is a little bit of a back bend. The tendency here is to bring your shoulders all the way up towards your ears, but that's not really an effective way of using your back muscles. So you want to try to keep your shoulders away from your ears and just lift your chest up as much as you can, and you'll feel your upper back start to engage a little bit. And then come all the way down. Lift yourself all the way back, downward facing dog. Bring your knees to the ground. And like I said before, in a vinyasa class, all the poses come from downward facing dog. That can be pretty challenging. It can feel like you're putting a lot of weight on your arms. So while I'm teaching you these yoga poses, I'm just going to be a little gentler with your upper body so that you're not super sore tomorrow. So you'll just come up to stand for now and stand with your feet wider than your hips. Now, like I said, these poses, you're going to come into them in a class from downward facing dog, but just so that you learn these standing poses today, we'll do it from standing. So have your feet wider than your hips, and then you're just going to turn your right toes towards the right side of your mat. So your right toes are totally forwards. Line up your right heel with the arch of your back foot. So if I were to slide this leg back, it would hit the arch of my back foot. Okay. From here, you're just going to bend your front knee. Open your arms out to the side. This is warrior 2. I'm starting with warrior 2 because it's a little bit easier of a pose than warrior 1. So you'll just bend that front knee. If your front knee is behind your ankle, that's okay. It's a hard pose to get that foot that knee right over the ankle, and not everyone's body likes to do that anyways, so it's fine wherever it is. Try to press into your back foot, so that back leg is also working. Awesome. From here, just turn your right palm to the ceiling. Reach towards the back of your mat. So this is called Peaceful Warrior. And you're not going to always remember all the names, but that's okay. You'll just look at me if you're taking my class. You can look around the room if you're in a yoga class, and you'll get it eventually. Don't worry. Good. Come back into your Warrior 2 and just straighten your front leg. Bring your right hip in, and when that right hip cuts in, you'll feel your right side of your body lengthen a little bit. Press into your back foot so you don't fall forwards, and then just reach, and bring your hand down to your shin. Lift your left arm up towards the ceiling. This is called triangle pose. You're probably feeling a little bit of a stretch to that inner right thigh. I like to remember this pose because you're making a triangle with the floor and your legs. Creates a triangle. Pretty easy. Good. If you feel like your chest is like caving down, just lift up a little bit higher so you get that nice big openness in your chest. Good. And then from here, just bend your front knee, bring your forearm to your right thigh. You may have to readjust your legs a little bit. That's okay. And then keep that left arm reaching towards the ceiling. This is called extended side angle. All of these poses, if you notice, have the same foot set up. So that's why I'm teaching you all of them all at once. Again, press into your back foot so that your front leg isn't doing all of the work. Good. And then lift yourself all the way up and parallel your feet so that your toes are facing the front of the room again. And then we'll do the left side. Turn your left toes towards the left. Have that heel in line with the arch of your back foot. And then bend your front knee. Bring your arms out into that T. And you're in your Warrior 2. Turn your left palm to the ceiling. Reach to the back of the room to come into your Peaceful Warrior. So you're getting all this nice big length through your left side. And then straighten your left leg. Bring your outer left hip in. Reach forwards. Go as far forwards as you can, and then find your shin for triangle pose. Bring your right arm towards the ceiling. You want to have that nice big openness in your chest, so if you feel at all like you're kind of here looking towards the ground, lift a little higher up on that left leg so you can look towards the ceiling a little bit. Bend your front knee, slip your forearm onto your left thigh, and reach your right arm towards the ceiling. Good. Try to press into your back foot so that you're not kind of collapsing through that inner thigh, but that back leg is staying nice and engaged. And then lift yourself all the way up. Perfect. All right. From here, you can just step your feet together. We'll come into Warrior 1 and Devotional Warrior. So the reason I'm teaching these second is the back foot is a little bit different than Warrior 2 and all those other standing poses that we just did. So go ahead and step your right foot towards the front of your mat. And then your left foot can step back a little bit, but you want your hips facing the front of the room. Turn your back toes to face the top left corner of your mat. So that back foot is more angled forwards than it was in your Warrior 2, Peaceful, all those poses that we just did. You want your hips to be facing the front of the room. You shouldn't feel a tweak in your back knee. If your back knee is bothering you, you need to turn your foot more forwards. If you can't get that foot forwards, if you're like me and your ankle mobility is not that great, you can step your back foot off to the side. That's going to help you swing your hips forwards. It'll take some of the tweakiness out of your back knee. Okay, from here, you're just going to bend your front knee, reach your arms towards the ceiling, and this is Warrior 1. Press into your back heel. Again, that back leg is really important in yoga. It's easy to forget about it because the front leg is the thing bending and working, but you want that back leg to work hard so that you're holding yourself stable. Good. From here, just bring your arms out into a T. Turn your palms back. Reach for your fingertips and interlace them behind your back. Now, not everyone has an easy time doing this, so if this is a tricky position for you, you can just stretch your arms back. That's totally fine. If you can interlace your hands, go for it. And then wherever you are, lift your chest up and bring your shoulder blades in and down your back. Press into your back heel. This one is a tricky one to lose balance on. And then you're just going to bring your chest forwards into devotional warrior. Now, when you're in this pose, you're going to notice a lot of the weight is going into the front leg. So you want that back leg to try to work really hard so that you don't feel like you're going to fall forwards. Good. Lift yourself all the way back up. And then just step forwards, switch your feet. Step your right foot back. Your left toes are forwards. And then those right toes need to swing towards the top right corner of your mat. Again, I had surgery on this ankle, so I can't get it to turn towards the top of the mat that well. I have to go pretty wide in my stance in order to do that. So you can modify poses a little bit to fit how your body is, because your body is not like mine. It's not like your neighbor's. It's not like anybody else's. So not everyone can do everything exactly the same, and that is fine. So from here, you're just going to bend that front knee, reach your arms towards the ceiling. And this is your warrior one. Good. Bring your arms out into a T. Turn your palms back. Interlace your other thumb on top if you have your hands interlaced. If not, you're just reaching back with those arms. Draw your shoulder blades in and down your back. Lift your chest. You can even breathe in here. And then on your exhale, fold over your legs. Press into that back leg. Don't let your front leg do all the work. Let your back leg help out a little bit. Press your foot through the floor. And then lift yourself all the way back up. And then just bring your feet together. You can release your hands. Come down into a child's pose. Again, your knees are towards the edges of your mat. Touch your big toes together and bring your butt back towards your heels as best as you can. And just lift yourself all the way up to sit. And the way a class usually goes is you have that little warm-up period that we did like at the beginning of this class. And then you start to move a little bit more. You start to build the heat a little bit more. You do some standing poses like we just did. And then you come back down onto the floor and you have a cool down period. So if you're in a class and you're like, oh my God, this is hard, I want to just lay down, don't worry, it comes. So you can just come onto your back actually and have your knees bent and have your feet flat on the ground. And you're just going to use your legs. You're going to lift your hips all the way up. And they may not get super high. They may just get a little bit off the ground. That's fine. You'll just lift your hips up, and this is called a bridge pose. If you'd like, you can hold the edges of your mat and try to bring your shoulders underneath you a little bit. And that might get your hips to lift a little bit higher. And this is a back bend. You know, your back is in a little bit of a bent position, and your chest is lifting up. And then just release the mat if you have it. Bring your hips all the way down. Bring your arms out into a T. And you're just going to windshield wipe your legs from side to side. You can let your eyes close here if that's comfortable for you. And then the next time they're on the right, you're just going to let them stay there. So you'll just drop your legs over to the right, keep your back on the ground, keep your left shoulder on the ground, and you're just in this easy twist on your back. Again, let your eyes close. And just relax. Bring your legs back through center. Drop them over to the left. Again, keeping your back on the ground. Keep that right shoulder on the ground. Let your eyes close. And then bring your legs back through center. Hug your knees into your chest. You can cross your ankles if that feels good to you, and you can just kind of move from side to side. Make little circles with your knees and just massage out that lower back on the floor. And then from here, we're going to come into the final pose. It's called Shavasana. It's at the end of every yoga class. You just lay here and you do nothing. It's great. So you'll just stretch your legs forwards, and you can be in a position that's comfortable for you. So if you're like me and sometimes your lower back bothers you when your legs are straight forwards, you can take like pillows underneath your legs, and that's gonna help make your lower back feel better. You can also just bend your knees for Shavasana and have your knees together to touch if that feels better for you. The idea is just to be in a really comfortable position that you feel like you could stay in. So you'll just stretch your legs forwards. You can bring your arms by your sides with your palms face up. Let your eyes close. Let your jaw drop. And just relax into your mat. And I'll let you know when to move. Start to deepen your breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Start to bend your knees and come over to your side. Slowly make your way up to sit. Let your eyes open. Thanks so much for joining me. I hope that you feel a little bit more in your body, a little bit more calmer. If you ever have any questions for me about yoga, feel free to send me an email, kateformanyoga@gmail.com. I also have a bunch of online classes on my online studio that you can check out on my website, kateformanyoga.com. And that will just help you kind of feel comfortable doing some yoga. You can do it at home on your own time whenever you want. You don't have to rely on a studio schedule. So you can do those. And if you ever, like I said, if you ever have any questions, I love answering any questions about yoga. I love helping people who are new to yoga kind of feel it out and get more into it. So definitely reach out to me. I'll put my email in the description as well so that you have it. And thanks so much. Have a great day.